You sat in front of the mirror, brush in hand, but the reflection staring back at you wasn't focused on straight hair or flawless makeup. It was troubled, restless. Why does her name still echo in my mind? Every time you heard it, even in passing, something inside you tightened. She wasn't just a woman from Jungkook's past. She was still there, walking through the same halls you did, working in the same company, carrying the title of ex-girlfriend as if it gave her a permanent seat in his life. And you were his wife, at least that's what the world saw. But you know the truth, contract wife. A paper binding a role to play. He didn't marry you out of love. He married you because circumstances demanded it. And yet, somewhere between his quiet gestures, his unspoken concern, and the strange way he showed care while pretending not, hopelessly, and now you couldn't shake the fear that maybe, just maybe, he still loved Nancy. The thought made your stomach twist. One, his voice cut through your spiraling thoughts. Jungkook was downstairs, already calling for you. You jolted, setting the straightener down too quickly, the heat grazing your finger. You winced, blowing at the red skin, but forced yourself to finish quickly. You slipped into your blazer, grabbed your bag, and descended the staircase. The sight that greeted you was a contradiction you still couldn't understand. Jungkook, the cool CEO, the man who spoke in clipped tones and built walls higher than mountains, was seated at the dining table with breakfast already served. Why does he do this if he doesn't care? Why does he bother? You pick up your fork, trying to ignore the lump in your throat. Silence filled the room, broken only by the faint clicking of cutlery. Finally, you cleared your throat. Jungkook, can I ask you something? His eyes lifted slowly, unreadable. What is it? Your palms grew calm under the table. It's about Nancy. She still works with you. Do you plan to get back with her? It stressed on unbearably. You wished he would say no, that he would deny it outright, even coldly, but instead he turned back to his plate, cutting, chewing, swallowing, as if you hadn't spoken at all. Finally, he spoke, his voice detached. Do you have anything related to work? The question landed like a slap. You shook your head, throat burning. He pushed his chair back and stood adjusting his suit. Okay, I'll be waiting in the car, and without a second glance, he left. Your fork clattered softly against the plate. You sat there, staring at the untouched food, wishing the ache in your chest wasn't so sharp. Minutes later, you joined him in the car. He drove silently, eyes fixed on the road. You cradled your hand in your lap, the faint burn from the straightener still stinging. He noticed his sharp eyes flicked towards you, softening just slightly. What happened to your finger? You hesitated. I accidentally touched the straightener this morning. It's nothing. The car slowed abruptly. You looked up in surprise as he pulled over near a medical store. Without a word, he stepped out, returned with a small first aid kit, and opened it. Your heart thudded. Shankar, really, it's fine. Give me your hand, he said, his tone firm, leaving no room for argument. You obeyed silently. His fingers were warm against yours, steady and careful as he cleaned the burn, applied ointment, and wrapped the bandage. His brows were furrowed, his jaw tight. You should be careful, he scolded quietly, though his touch was nothing but gentle. You bit your lip, holding back a smile. He doesn't even realize. Every time he acts like this, I follow a little deeper. When he finally looked up, your eyes met. For a split second, something flickered there, something he quickly buried beneath his gold mask. Don't be careless next time, he said firmly, withdrawing his hand. You nodded softly, okay. The rest of the drive was silent, but this time the silence wasn't painful. Beneath his icy words, you had seen it, care, a care he would never confess, a care he might not even acknowledge. And though your fingers throbbed lightly, your heart was glowing. For now, that was enough. The car slowed to a halt in front of the towering glass building. Jungkook parked neatly, his hands leaving the steering wheel with the same precision he carried into everything. Without glancing at you, he muttered, "We are here." You nodded, clutching your bag as you stepped out. The morning breeze was cool against your skin, but inside, your nerves prickled with unease. Walking into his office building was always a test, not because of him, but because of them, the people, the whispers. You straightened your blazer, lifted your chin, and walked through the large revolving doors. Immediately you felt it, the stares, the weight of curious eyes lingering too long, the faint hush of voices, lowered whispers, not faint enough for you to miss. Why does she come in his car? Isn't she just his secretary? Do they have something going on? Your steps didn't falter, though your heart squeezed at every word. Nobody knew about the contract marriage. Nobody knew except Jungkook and his parents. To the rest of the world, you were either invisible or some rumor. They didn't know you shared a house with him. They didn't know that even in silence, he made you breakfast, that even in coldness, he bandaged your wounds. And yet their whispers made you feel small, as though you were standing on a stage without a script. Then, like clockwork, she appeared, Nancy. She walked towards you with perfect confidence, her heels clicking against the polished floor like a warning bell, her glossy lips curled into a smirk, her eyes glinting with mockery. She didn't bother lowering her voice. "Well, well, look who decided to come in the boss's car." Her tone was syrupy sweet, yet laced with poison. She leaned closer, poking at your arm lightly with one manicured finger. "Don't get ahead of yourself, sweetheart. You don't look like his wife, not even close. Jungkook will be mine, after all." Her words burned, but you held your breath, refusing to give her the satisfaction of a reaction. For a moment you considered walking away in silence, but something inside you snapped, something that had been simmering since the breakfast table, since your unanswered question. You leaned just close enough for only her to hear and whispered calm and steady, "Maybe you're right. I don't look like his wife, but the truth is, I'm already his wife." Her eyes widened, shock flickering across her perfect features. Before she could mask, you smiled softly and walked away, leaving her frozen in place. But she wasn't frozen for long. Jungkook, he strode into the office, every step commanding authority, every gaze sharp enough to slice. His eyes found Nancy immediately, and for once she faltered. His voice was cold, sharper than steel. "We hired you as an employee, not a doll in a showcase." Her lips parted in offense, but her voice trembled with forced sweetness. Jungkook, He cut her off, eyes narrow. "Shut up. I'm your boss, not your man. Learn the difference." The sting of his words left her speechless. Around you, whispers grew again, shocked, gasped, and murmurs. Your heart pounded not just at his words, but at the way he had said them, with finality, without hesitation. For once he hadn't been silent. He had drawn the line himself. You had just turned back, clutching the file you needed for the upcoming meeting. Approaching him, you forced your expression to remain calm, professional, though your chest swelled with something dangerously close to pride. "Jungkook," you said loud enough for everyone to hear, "we have a meeting in an hour." His eyes softened just barely when they met yours. "Yes, Wine, I'm coming." The sound of your name in his voice, calm and unbothered. Together you walked down the hall, side by side. You didn't look at him, couldn't, not with your heart fluttering the way it was. Instead, you let your eyes wander briefly to the side, where Nancy stood. Her expression was dark, her lips pressed tight, her eyes burning holes into your back. You didn't resist. You let yourself smirk at her once more, small and subtle, a silent declaration. Because for all her words, all her confidence, all her claims at the end of the day, it wasn't Nancy walking beside them, it was you, and that burned her more than anything else ever could. Your stomach does a small traitorous slip as you stand outside the glass wall meeting room. You had rehearsed this presentation in your head 100 times, the opening, the side transitions, the point where the client's eyes would narrow and then soften. And let your hands feel empty, the file. Your file was not in your bag. You check again, fingers trembling, nothing. A cold wash of panic climbs your spine. Please don't let this be the moment I stumble, you think. Breath shallow. You glance at Nancy through the glass. She watches with a smile that's far too patient. Your throat tightens. The meeting begins. Clients settle. Polite small talk hums. You step up, ready to explain the concept verbally, to hold their attention with conviction, even without the slides. But before you can open, I can present, she says, voice bright as a stage light. She glances towards Jungkook. He gives the slightest nod, business first always. I have reviewed the proposal and I will walk them through. Your mouth goes dry. You open your mouth to protest, to tell them these are your projections. These strategies came from your late night brainstorming sessions. But Nancy is already talking. Her voice is smooth, practice. She flips through the presentation with the ease of someone claiming ownership. At the first slide, your chest tightens. This is your phrasing, your flow. Her words lift the very sentence you had planned to say. Excuse me, you interject, voice small in the big room. That was my. Nancy smiles at you like you're a cute interruption. Oh, I brought these notes together, she says loud enough for everyone to hear. I thought a fresh approach would help. You feel the color drain from your face. The murmurs begin at the back, surprised, speculative. Jungkook watches, expression unreadable. He doesn't correct her. He doesn't give you the floor. When the clients nod at the end, thanking Nancy for the clarity, you swallow the hot sting of humiliation. Later, in the hush of his cabin, the door closes behind you like a verdict. Jungkook doesn't look at you first. His hands move across his desk. The only sound, you sit the leather chair creaking beneath you, your fingers knotted together. I'm thinking of resigning. You blurt out, voice brutal. If I can't even present my own work, what is the point? I can't stay in a place where my efforts are stolen and I'm dismissed. He finally looks up for a second. You see something unguarded, something like regret, and then his face cools in calm. Why? He asks flat, as if the question could be answered with a single word. To terminate Nancy, you say, stunned at the accusation in his tone. He leans back and the corner of his mouth works. Because I know it was yours. He taps his stack of papers, emails, timestamp drafts, version history. I showed proofs to everyone. She's been terminated. The relief and disbelief was inside you. What? If you knew, why didn't you speak up when I was there? Well, let me suffer that. Your voice cracks. Memory of the meeting like salt on a wound. He inhales strangely gentle. Because you call me arrogant and head white guy near Mr. Hunt. He wiggled his eyebrows in a quick, almost teasing motion that made your scalp prickle. I got hurt, tit for tat. Your mouth falls open. You had said it in frustration, one careless bar meant you to push him to make him react. And he had taken it more personally than you realized. You should be angry, you should be furious that he stayed silent while you were humiliated, but the confession in his voice lights under your defense and presence. For a bit you stare at him. The room is small. The city hums outside like distant waves. Your chest feels right. I thought you hated me, you murmur. The words barely escape. I thought you loved Nancy. He stands before you in one smooth motion. Your breath catches because he's closer than you expected. His presence fills the room, commanding, warm, intimate. He reaches out and steadies your chin with your finger as if testing whether you're real. His fingers are careful. If I hated you, he says voice low enough that only you can hear, I wouldn't have married you. You want to laugh at the simplicity of it and cry at the same time. That contract, you whisper because the paper between you feels for now. He corrects near enough that you can smell the clean scent of his garland. But when his voice softens on your name, slow and deliberate, you are my future wife. He floods your face. Your heart flips with something feral and frightened, and accelerated all at once. He moves closer until there is no space left between you. His hands slide your waist, steadying, drawing you nearer. Thank you for watching.